Good morning. It's our last full day here in Cusco before we leave for the Inca Trail very early tomorrow morning. And today we're going to do a full day tour of the Sacred Valley. The Sacred Valley is a beautiful region near Cusco, filled with ancient Inca sites like Pisac and Ollantaytambo. It's also known for its stunning landscapes, rich culture, and was once an important area for the Inca civilization. So the original plan was to get picked up by a cab and taken to a central meeting point, but we just got off the phone with the tour company, and for whatever reason, they're actually just going to send the tour bus right to our hostel in the next 10-20 minutes. And yeah, it's freezing.
Now we wait.
Now we wait. It's pretty cold outside. I mean, we could go way back inside, but
our place has no roof, so it's just as cold
it's
inside.
just as cold inside, so we're just gonna wait out here.
Okay, thank you.
So this is going to be a very full day visiting, I believe, 5 sites that most people would do over 2 to 3 days. So I think we'll have a short amount of time at each of the sites, but it was the best way for us to see everything in the time that we had. Basically means that the tour is going to last probably around 12 hours, if not slightly longer. And our first stop is going to be at Chinchero, and it's going to be around a 45-minute bus ride to get there. So we just arrived at our first stop in Chinchero, and we're at a textile factory, learning about how they turn alpaca wool and llama wool into clothing. We sat down for some tea and a short demonstration of how they wash and spin the wool before using different plants to dye it in a wide range of colors. We then had another 10 minutes or so to look around the shop and make any purchases. What? Magic.
I went to ask what that was on the cactus. It's actually a parasite, and it's caused by a beetle. That's what you're crushing up, and it's like, that's the color it gives off.
Interesting.
And then when they add like salt to it or a crystal, it will change colors to turn like orange or pink or red or purple.
Are your hands still dyed?
Yeah, I wiped them off.
Let's see.
When they said it's waterproof, it truly is waterproof.
Dave got a
I'm trying, Kat.
chicken empanada, which means he now has a new friend. Oh, hi. So we've just finished up at our first stop, and now we're heading back to the bus. And Dave, what was your thoughts?
It was all really interesting. Cheap, good empanada.
Yeah. How much was it? $3?
So, yeah.
Yeah, for an empanada. So we have 2 stops in the town of Chinchero, and it is 400 meters higher than Cusco. So we're at 3,800 meters above sea level right now. And luckily we're not experiencing any additional altitude sickness.
Just winded.
Just winded.
Now we're going to buy some tickets.
And yes, we're going to buy our pass that gets us into all of the sites today, except for the salt mines, which we pay for separately when we get there. Chinchero is believed to have been the country estate of the Incan emperor in the late 15th century. Positioned between Cusco and the Sacred Valley, Chinchero served as an important point along the Inca road network, facilitating travel and trade between the capital and agricultural regions. Chinchero is also a significant symbol of the resistance against Spanish colonization. According to local history, the Inca ruler burned the city to prevent the Spanish from taking control of it. So we're just about to leave Chinchero. We're just heading back to the bus. And at the first stop at the llama textile factory, we bought just like a little llama stuffed animal type thing, because it just had like the llama fur. Like kind of a silly thing, but we like to get at least one thing from a trip.
From a country,
as like a memento. And we had a feeling we were overpaying for it, but at the same time, wasn't the end of the world. It ended up being like just over $10 Canadian. And I mean, whatever, you're also supporting the local people. But we're still at Chinchero, just about to leave, and we spot the exact same thing. Actually, a larger version of it.
Literally down the street from where I just got it at like the legitimate handcrafty place. Yeah, it was half price.
It was half price, and it was bigger.
And I could have probably haggled her down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was only 20 soles.
that in mind.
So were we ripped off? I don't know. I mean, at the same time, it's nice to support the local people, but yeah, it still feels silly that we could have got it for like $5, $6 Canadian.
I just thought because it was at the place, you know? They were showing us all the wool stuff. They were showing us all the stuff that they hand make. I've assumed it was just like a little knickknack that they made.
It could be a markup though because of the experience.
100%.
You learn all about it first. But yeah, I don't know. It just was funny to us.
I'm not happy. It was a very quick turnaround time. Paying 40 and then being told 20.
Yeah.
Somewhere else.
So we've just arrived at the next archaeological site of Moray. And I'm pretty sure this is the site that has the terraced agricultural field. The Moray Archaeological Site is thought to have been an Incan agricultural laboratory where crops were tested under different conditions. The circular terraces create a variety of microclimates, with the difference in temperature between the highest and lowest terraces being as much as 15 degrees Celsius. Now we're loading back up on the bus, and I believe we're heading to the salt mines. So just before heading to the actual salt mines, we made a quick stop for a washroom break, and there's a shop that you can look around and buy some different things. But inside we actually also tried some of the salt that they get from the mine. We also got to try some salted chocolate, which was probably my favorite part. So in just a few minutes we'll be hopping back on the bus, and it's about a 7-minute drive to the actual salt mines. So we've just arrived at the salt mines, and we're heading down to look at all of the pools where the salty water from a natural spring, it's just naturally salty, where it all collects. And there's supposed to be about 3,000 of these pools, and about, I think she said 300 families, could be 600 families that come and collect from their pools. So this is the one stop for the day where we had to pay for the ticket. It wasn't included in the Circuit 3 pass, basically. So it was 20 soles per person.
This salt water is 32 degrees coming out of the ground.
Celsius?
Yeah.
Is that what I just read?
Yeah.
So you can see how they've blocked the water from going into this pool. There's a rock right here wedged in. There's actually a little bit of water still getting through, but that's how they block it off so that the water will evaporate and just leave behind the salt. So I think we're both in agreement at this point that this is our favorite stop on the trip so far. At least the most impressive. It's just so crazy to see how it works and just how many salt pools there are, and just the fact that the water, like it's spring water, but that it's coming out salty and at 32 degrees.
Yeah, it's really interesting that they just discovered this spring, I don't know how many years ago, and then they've just been like farming these fields.
And just to come up with the way of doing it, it's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's like, what did she say? It was 2,000 tons of
2,000
salt
tons.
a year?
Yeah. That's a lot of salt.
It's a lot of salt for, I mean, it's a lot of land, but not a crazy amount. I think it's so cool, all the little channels they cut. And I bet there's an entire like system in place of like knowing what sections to get harvested at the right time. I really wish we could walk around down there, but I understand. They wouldn't want us to because people be falling in the salt and
touching it and
dropping wrappers in it and
damaging
stuff like that.
it and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, very cool.
Very cool.
lunch stop now, and I think we're here for about 40 minutes to an hour. And it's a buffet style lunch.
My hot take on this food is that it was all right. But I thought it was interesting that when we booked the tour, they asked if there was any dietary issues, gluten, dairy. And then when we got here, it was a free-for-all. They just said, okay, here's your food, go. I ended up asking one person if certain things were gluten-free or dairy-free. They had no idea. So I thought it was kind of weird that they asked about dietary, and then they made no effort to accommodate dietary concerns.
So after finishing our lunch, we got back into the van and drove about 30 minutes to get to the next site that we're going to be exploring.
We made it to the top. It felt like a lot higher. Do you remember what we started at height-wise?
2,850, I think.
Okay, we only went up 50 meters from bottom to top. It felt like more.
Well, it's very steep.
It looks like more.
This definitely seems like a place that you would want some more time to like leisurely kind of stroll around. There's a bunch of other areas, I think, along this structure that we didn't have time to explore. There's definitely like further up.
And we got broad strokes of like what the different things are and different areas, but I feel like we could have spent probably at least twice the time here. We were here for what, 45 minutes? An hour?
I think it's just been about 40 minutes.
So on the positive side, we didn't spend enough time here, but it's worth coming.
It is.
So
it is. I'd say this is probably the most impressive thing
we've seen yet today.
The salt mines were cool, but this is like, feels like an actual like historic site, which I mean it is, but
yeah. All right, we're losing our group.
We gotta go catch up. So after an hour and a half bus ride from Ollantaytambo, we arrived at Pisac, and we were a bit behind schedule. They typically close at 4:30, but I guess for tour groups, they normally shut the gates at 5. And I think our group was running in through the gate at 5:02. So it's been very rushed, and we got a brief history lesson at the main like agricultural terraces.
When the Spaniards arrived later, no, they pushed the people that used to live in the mountains to come down, and they create these colonial towns in order to have control, power over them.
And now we're doing free time to quickly explore the area. We have about 30 minutes to kind of take it all in and then head back to the bus to head back to Cusco. Can't get over how beautiful it is from up here, especially with the sun starting to go down. It's gorgeous.
Here's Jess. We're on our last stop, and she's not having it. Neither am I. But I did discover the scam. They have this shop that they bring you to at the very end. They dress it up as like, we're going to go here and we're going to learn about Inca traditions around gold and silver. So we get inside, and initially our guide goes there and starts talking to us like, this is how they make silver, so on and so forth. Not very much, like a minute of just like, this is silver and its purity. Then the person who works here shows up, and then she's like, okay, so she starts in on the whole silver thing. She probably gives a presentation for about 2 minutes on how to make a silver ring. And then immediately she launches directly into chakras and stones. She's still going now. I probably stood there for about 5 minutes listening to it. She has this little plasma ball. Let me start you on this whole thing. She has this little plasma ball. Let me lean against the wall because my arm's getting tired. They have people come up and touch it with one finger, and depending on the color of the little plasma, that's the color of your chakra. And then from there, and this is where she ties in the silver work. She will sell you a silver ring, and then they will implant your chakra into that ring, and then your energies are good or something. There's definitely like a kickback going on with our tour group and every other tour group in the area, because let me just flip this around. When we showed up, our bus didn't even have a place to park. And each of these holds at least like, 13, 14 people. And then when you get off the bus, there is someone standing at your door saying, come across the street, this is where you want to enter. So yeah, I mean, I'm down for a little scammy stuff here and there, like this morning. We came in, we had a little bit of tea. They showed us how the dyeing process works. Probably took 10 minutes. And then we spent 10 minutes in their gift shop where, granted, I did buy something at a markup. But you know what, I'm happy with that. It felt like there was some effort and it actually linked back to Peru. But this is just a straight up like, hey.
I have to say, ending on Pisac was probably going to be like the best idea for like the great way to end the trip. And then we get back into the van. And I'm thinking, okay, we're done. We're heading back to Cusco. We're a bit early on our timing. This is fantastic. And then she's like, we got to stop at this silver place.
And we went to Pisac, which great site, looked great views. So you finish that and then they're like, okay, right before we leave, we got to bring you into this little scam situation, which granted, the one bonus here, they have bathrooms.
Yeah, I guess the challenging thing is that seeing this entire area in one day is really just not simple to actually feel like you got something out of it. We had to go through every single site so quickly because there just wasn't time. We're constantly being rushed. And then when we started falling behind due to the guide actually just taking longer to lead us through something, and then she like blamed us, and I was like, I'm literally sitting here waiting for the van to come back. So we were late by 20 minutes, and 10 of it was her and 10 of it was the van. And I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way. But I guess my main thing is that if you're going to come and see this area, don't try and do it in one day because it's just not worth it. Like, there was parts that were enjoyable, sure, but I don't think it was worth doing it in one fell swoop.
Just in the interest of science, Jess is going to check her chakra so we can figure out which, I don't know, but you got to touch your finger to it. It's not, but, oh.
Their chakra.
Do you know how we can check our chakra color?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're going to get this. A little switch.
Right.
All right, Jess. Go for something other than purple. Purple. Okay, let me see what purple is. You're only supposed to do one. Try somewhere else on the bulb. It's all purple.
Purple.
All right, so it means we need to get diamonds or oro or something else. All right. We have now established Jess needs diamonds. Thank you.
Join us in our next video where we start the 4-day hike along the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu.